Here is an example of a quadratic sequence. We're going to go through the process of how we work out what the nth term rule is for a quadratic sequence. And we start, as we would do for an arithmetic sequence, by working out the differences between the pairs of numbers. So our first two numbers, we've got 3 and 12. 12 take away 3 gives us 9. Then we move on to the next pair. So 25 take away 12 gives us 13. So what you're noticing, because this is not arithmetic, is that we're not getting the same number every time. But don't panic, just keep working out the differences. So 42 take away 25 is 17. And then we've got 63 take away 42, which gives us 21. What we're now going to do is repeat that process, but with our new set of numbers. 13 take away 9 gives us 4. 17 take away 13 gives us 4. 21 take away 17 gives us 4. So this is a bit more like what we're expecting when we're doing an arithmetic. Normally with an arithmetic, this number that we've just found, we would put in front of the n, so that would become like 4n. But because we're doing a quadratic, the first term in our nth term rule is actually going to be an n squared term. So you might think it would be 4n squared, but it isn't, unfortunately. You're always going to halve this amount. So it's going to be 2n squared is the first part of this sequence, but there's more to it. So the next thing we need to do on the next line is actually work out what 2n squared is. So when n is 1, n squared is 1, so 2n squared is 2. When n is 2, n squared is 4, times 2 gives us 8. When n is 3, we get 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18. When n is 4, n squared is 16, times 2 is 32. When n is 5, then it's n squared, which is 25, times 2, which gives us 50. So n squared would just give us our squared numbers, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, but we want 2n squared, so we've got all of those numbers doubled. What we next need to do is take these numbers that we've just worked out away from our original numbers, because that's the 2n squared element, and we now need to work out what's left over, or what there is, if you like, on top of the 2n squared. So 3 take away 2 gives us 1. 12 take away 8 gives us 4. 25 take away 18 gives us 7. 42 take away 32 is 10. And 63 take away 50 is 13. Now we're going to go back to that process of working out the differences between these numbers. So 4 take away 1 is 3. 7 take away 4 is 3. 10 take away 7 is 3. And 13 take away 10 is 3. So what that tells us is that this bit that we had left over in yellow is actually an arithmetic sequence. The common difference here is 3, so that means that this part of our n-term rule is 3n. But do we need to adjust it? Yes, we do, because if n was 1, then we'd be looking for 3 to start our sequence, and we haven't got 3, we've got a 1. So if we go back 1 in our sequence, can't really do, but if you do it, pretend. So 1 take away 3 gets us to -2. So our nth term rule for the yellow line here, the 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, is 3n minus 2. So overall, the nth term rule for our whole sequence, the one that quadratic sequence that we started with, is 2n squared plus 3n minus 2. So let's just check that out on one of them. Okay, so let's check it out on this one here. So that's the third term where n equals 3. So 3 squared is 9, times by 2 is 18, plus 3 times 3, which is 9, minus 2. So 18 and 9 is 27, take away 2 is 25. So let's go through that process one more time. Here's a new set of numbers for us to work on. So remember, the first thing we need to do is work out the differences between the numbers. So 9 take away 5.5 is 3.5. 13.5 take away 9 is 4.5. 19 take away 13.5 is 5.5. And 25.5 take away 19 is 6.5. Remember, we need to repeat that process. So 4.5 take away 3.5 is 1. 5.5 take away 4.5 is 1. 6.5 take away 5.5 is 1. So that is the number that's going to help us work out what the n squared term is. But remember, we always need to halve it. So that means we've got a half n squared going on. So the next thing we're going to do is write down what a half n squared is. So when n is 1, n squared is 1, and half of 1 is a half. I'll do it decimal so it works with what's above better. Okay, so when n is 2, n squared is 4, and a half of 4 is 2. N is 3, n squared is 9, and half of 9 is 4.5. N is 4, we get n squared, which is 16, and half of that is 8. And then n is 5, square that, that's 25, half of that is 12.5. Remember, we're now going to take that off the top line. So we're taking the half n squared element out of our sequence so we can see what else is there. 5.5 take away half is 5. 9 take away 2 is 7. 13.5 take away 4.5 is 9. 19 take away 8 is 11. 25.5 take away 12.5 is going to give us 13. Then we work out the difference between these numbers. So 7 take away 5 is 2. 9 take away 7 is 2. 11 take away 9 is 2. 13 take away 11 is 2. So we've got our arithmetic sequence part here. So this means that it's going to be 2n something. Okay, it's not exactly 2n. So you've got two ways to work out how to adjust it. So when n is 1, it's supposed to be 5. 2 times 1 is only 2, so we need to add 3 to it. So that's 2n plus 3 is that rule. Or you can think of the 5. The common difference is 2, so if we go back one step, we'd take 5 take away 2, so that would be 3. So overall, our nth term rule is a half n squared plus 2n plus 3.